Hello again, and good evening. My name is Liza Sekeli. I'm the director of the Mahaney Arts Center, and it's very nice to see you all here tonight. Welcome to Robison Hall. Before we begin, we pause to acknowledge that Middlebury College sits on land which has served as a site of meeting and exchange among Indigenous peoples since time immemorial. The Western Abenaki are the traditional caretakers of these Vermont lands and waters, which they call Indakina, or homeland. We remember their connection to this region and the hardships they continue to endure. Let us take a moment of silence to pay respect to the Abenaki elders and to the Indigenous inhabitants of Turtle Island, past and present. We give thanks for the opportunity to share in the bounty of this place and to protect it. We are all one in the sacred web of life that connects people, animals, plants, air, water, and earth. I would especially like to thank you for being here tonight because this is actually the very first performance where we have had both on and off-campus audiences welcome in the hall for 18 months. I think someone counted it was 565 days since the last time we welcomed people into this hall, and it is a pleasure. We've had many, many performances in the past 18 months by students, for students, but we haven't had the opportunity to share it with our community in this way. So thank you for being here for this re-inauguration of Robison Hall. I have lots of people to thank, including Carolyn Keebler of the New England Review, Jenny Lyons from the Vermont Bookshop, and you, of course, for being here tonight, whether it's live or on the live stream that's happening now. And now I'd like to introduce our illustrious guest and our featured artist of the evening, Francois Clemmons. Known to the world for his role on Mr. Rogers' Neighborhood, Dr. Clemmons has long been known locally as the Alexander Twilight Artist in Residence and as the director of the Martin Luther King Spiritual Choir here at Middlebury College, where he served from 1997 until his retirement in 2015. He is also an actor, an activist, and a Grammy Award-winning singer. I'm also proud to call him my friend. Please welcome Francois Clemmons.
And we'll have some good questions for me later on. I heard you Right now we have some issues going on the southern border of Mexico and America. Concerning the Haitian, Spanish American, and we also have an issue in this country with Afghanistan immigrants, people who have come to this country looking for some kind of aid, protection, understanding, and welcome. We are learning what a world community is like. This is our national purpose. We are learning the real thing, the first thing, people are suffering. And we saw that there's some kind of a earthquake in Australia. 5.7? My goodness. And it's not an earthquake, it's a hurricane, it's fire, it's now? Testing 1, 2. Okay. Thank you, dear. Yeah, man, she gave me that signal that something wasn't right. But could you hear me before anyway? Some of you could, and definitely some could not. So I hope we have taken care of that now. And so I'd like to share a quiet moment. I did a special program this summer at the Marble Works in the yoga studio. I am a person who feels vibrations when I sing, when I hum. That's my prayer. That's my meditation. I am not the kind of person who sits quietly for 2 hours. Even when I'm alone, I sing to myself and to my dog. She's never run away, or if anything, she sings along with me. Believe me, she can howl. Sweetheart of prayer, sweetheart of prayer, that calls me from a world of care and bids me at my Father's throne make all my wants and wishes known. In seasons of distress and grief, my soul has often found relief, and all escape the tempter's snare by thy return, sweet hour of prayer. a friend. For all those who are coming, my Lord, what a moment. Oh, my Lord, what a morning. Oh, my Lord, what a morning when the stars begin to fall. When the stars begin to fall, you'll hear the trumpet sound to hear the nations underground. Listen to my God's right hand. When the stars begin to fall, when the stars begin to fall. Lord, what a morning, my Lord, what a morning. Oh, my Lord, what a morning when the stars began to fall. Thank you very much. I thought the first thing I should start talking to you about is telling you it took me 26, 27, 28 years to write this book. I started out as writing a journal, and I spent awful lot of times in airports, in hotels, lobbies of all kinds, and I was trying to figure out what the heck to do with my time. And I decided to start writing down what I saw, who I saw, what happened, the action. And in the course of keeping almost like a diary journal, I began to think, this might be important if I decide I'm going to write a book someday. It was a lot of junk, in my opinion. Just, the way you write, what you think about. You're not thinking about chapters and verbs and nouns and subjects agreeing. I just got information down on paper. Well, I continued to do that for 26 years. And so when I came here to Vermont, I soon learned that everybody was writing. What they say, publish or perish. There were a whole lot of folks who were determined not to perish. So they were writing, and I thought, well, I can get some writing done too, just like they're doing. So I started going to the library and to quiet places that worked for me. Generally speaking, I like working at home. And I call it now going into my cave. And I go into the cave and I get quiet, and I've been buked and I've been scorned. Yes, I've been buked and I've been scorned. Children have been duped, and I've been scorned. Oh Lord, I've been talked about. Shows you born. There is trouble all over this world. Yes, there is trouble all over this world. Lord, children, there is trouble all over this world. Oh Lord, there is trouble all over this world. Ain't gonna lay my religion down. No, I ain't gonna lay my religion down, Lord. I ain't gonna lay my religion down. One lay my religion down. Yeah. And then as I continued, mostly at home, I couldn't start singing like that in the library. Quite frankly, a couple of times I did. And when I did, everyone kept saying, "Oh, that's Francois." Oh, yeah. Well, let him sing a couple of songs. You know, I christened the new library here, and I can remember everybody telling me to be quiet. It needed what I had. Yeah, amen. And I knew it, and I gave it generously. I sang until I got tired. I did about 5 or 6 songs, and I said, "Okay, thank you." They were applauding by that point. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. I'll be back. Let them know that I was coming back. Also, Bicentennial Hall. You know, I christened Bicentennial Hall. How many of you all remember that? Uh-huh. Well, I was over there singing too. In fact, we decided to do some Christmas concerts, and they didn't have a facility or a time slot for us to go over. So I said to my choir, "Come on over with me, and we're going to sing something." And I went over there with my children, and we started singing, "Swing low, sweet chariot, coming for to carry me home. Swing low, Lord, sweet chariot, coming for to carry me home." Now I looked over Jordan, and what did I see? Coming for to carry me home. Oh, a big band of angels coming after me, coming for to carry me home. Whoa, swing low, Lord, sweet chariot, coming for to carry me home. Yeah, swing low, Lord, sweet chariot, coming for to carry me home. That's one of my favorite songs. All over the world, I've been asked to sing 2 songs. Swing Low, Sweet Chariot, and the other one is A Balm in Gilead. I said that after I introduced you to the fact that it took me 26 years to write that book, I began to look back over my history and pay attention to things that I had neglected to pay attention to, or that I was shoveling under the carpet, things I didn't want to face. I want to alert those who don't know that writing a memoir is an arduous experience, especially if you don't know what you're doing. Guess who didn't know what I was doing? And I didn't know what I was getting into. I have some wonderful friends sitting there who read all of those early renditions of what I thought, there we go, was a book. Do you like this as well? It's from Mongolia. Thank you. I usually wear African stuff. The other night I went into a very sad occasion. A friend of mine, I went to do a memorial service in Beverly, Massachusetts. But it didn't escape me as I walked in. I had my blue outfit. They said, "Oh, you didn't tell us royalty was going to be here." I said, "Yes, otherwise they'll forget." So every now and then, I have to throw something on. So, as I began to write, my absolute favorite story was about my grandfather, Saul, and I was called Buttercup, Little Buttercup. And Little Buttercup roamed all over the place, getting into trouble as children do. And my granddaddy, Saul, became my babysitter. And he used to take me down to the river, and we were down by the river, and he would take a long limb, take off the leaves and stuff, and make a fishing hook out of it. And we always dug in the, this is the part I, snail. He always have these hooks, and he was ready to go. So we would sit there and throw the line in, and you know who fell asleep? I was a sleepy-headed boy. And my granddaddy, as far as I ever knew, walked with a cane. And as we were walking with the cane, put the cane next to him, he said, "Buttercup, now don't go to sleep. The cane's going to come and talk to us. And the cane is going to tell us some stories of Afrique. That's where your people come from, boy. We were not always slaves. We were kings and queens in l'Afrique. Don't you forget that." And he said, "You just wait there a minute, and if we're really attentive, the cane would begin to tell us some stories of Afrique." Well, you know I felt deep. And one I'd wake up, my granddaddy would say, "Buttercup, Buttercup, why did you fall asleep, boy? The cane was talking. I tried to wake you up." I said, what did the cane say? The cane was talking like that. Well, he was. Well, well, well. Now, he said, "I'm supposed to teach you the songs, what to sing." I said, "What am I supposed to sing, Granddaddy?" "You just sing like I'm singing." "Oh, yes, sir." Whoa, way back yonder, a mighty, mighty long way. Mighty, mighty long way. Ah, ah, oh, well, 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 Lord, hallelujah. Oh, oh Lord. That's why I learned to sing. I learned to be quiet, and I learned that I could sing. And when I went back home, I heard at night when I lay in bed, my grandmother and my great grandmother Laura May was saying, Saul, what are you doing telling that boy Cain was singing? You know that Cain wasn't singing a thing. And I lay in bed and I thought, it's our secret. Nobody else knows but me and Granddaddy how the Cain could sing, Lord. Ah, ah, whoa. Yeah. Oh, way over, Lord. And the next thing I know, the cane was just singing. And I thought, well, I can do that. Well, I went through several experiences, and I want to share with you that there's a young man here, Mr. Ronnie Romano. Would you please come to the piano? And we can do a couple of those songs that I learned in my youth. Oh, how you doing, fella? Don't you like the way he's dressed? Amen. That's how he got the job, and that's how he. This song is dedicated to you tonight. How could anyone? By the way, the flowers are simply beautiful. Thank you, whoever did that. How could anyone ever tell you you were anything less than beautiful? How could anyone ever tell you you were less than whole? How could anyone fail to notice that your loving is a miracle? How deeply you're connected to my soul. How could anyone ever tell you you were anything less than beautiful? How could anyone ever tell you you were less than whole? How could anyone ever fail to notice that your loving is a miracle? How deeply you're connected to my soul. There are many ways to say I love you. There are many ways to say I care about you. Many ways to say I love you. There's the singing way to say I love you. There's the singing something someone would love to hear. The singing way, the singing way, the singing way to say, I love you. Picking up your toils can say, I love you. And picking up your clothes before you're asked to do it. Making special pictures for the holidays. And making plays, you'll find many ways to say I love you. You'll find many ways to say I care about you. Many ways, many ways to say I love you. How about soon I will be done? Soon I will be done with the troubles of the world, troubles of the world, the troubles of the world. Soon I will be done with the troubles of the world, going home to live with God. Soon I will be done with the troubles of the world, troubles of the world, the troubles of the world. Soon I will be done with the troubles of the world, going home to live with God. I want to meet my mother. I want to meet my father. I want to meet my mother. I'm going to live with God. Soon I will be done with the troubles of the world, troubles of the world, Lord, troubles of the world. Soon I will be done with the troubles of the world, going home and live with God. I want to see my daddy. I want to see my daddy. I want, Lord, see my daddy. I'm going to live with God. Soon I will be done with the troubles of the world, troubles of the world, troubles of the world. Soon I will be done with the troubles of the world, going home to live with God. Sing with me. Soon I will be done with the troubles of the world, troubles of the world, troubles of the world. Oh, soon I will be done with the troubles of the world, going home to live with my God. Amen. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. I think you're wonderful. Thank you for coming along. Bless you. Maestro Clemmons blesses him. When you get to be my age, what are they saying? Is it all over? One more? Well, she says one more. What do you think? Yeah, I want to. in Gilead to make the wounded whole. There is a balm in Gilead to heal the sick soul. Sometimes I feel discouraged and I think my work in vain. But then the Holy Spirit revives my soul again. Lord, there is a balm in Gilead to make the wounded whole. Yeah, there is a balm in Gilead to heal the sin soul. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Don't go anywhere. Right. I'm going to take this moment to grab some water. I just want to say about 2.5, 3 years now, or 3 years ago, I had 2 strokes. And ever since I've had those strokes, I either walk with a cane or I wobble like I'm going now. And I grab it also because I'm afraid I don't want to fall. So I just wanted to explain to those who haven't seen me for a while. I'm fine, thank you. She's so great. I'm going to keep her. I want you to know that when I first came to Middlebury, the one person who said, "Come on, let me show you around," Liza. She got me, yes, give her a hand. I want to thank her. And that's what makes me feel like it's a family. You're not just paid artists come into the community, sing and go home. Liza from, remember the midnights we stayed up
Yes,
late?
I do.
So, let's see, was it Royal Crown or was
It
it
was Reinhold and Lynn's house.
Yes.
I want you to picture this. I'm 27 years old and I meet Francois Clemmons, who I used to watch on television when I was a child. And I find myself in the middle of the night singing really loudly to old Motown records.
Oh, they were wonderful.
It was wonderful. And
Liza, you can sing. I'm surprised. You know what? Because she's such an academic lady. She's so precise and correct. But child, she got down with me. We did. It was our own special party, and
How
I'll
can you
never,
not?
ever forget it.
Francois, I have to thank you for sharing your gifts with us tonight. I had no idea how much I really needed to hear Balm in Gilead. I never made as good a decision as I did tonight to say, please sing one more. I think all of us need a Balm in Gilead right now, and it was so meaningful to me. So thank you so much, and thank you for your generosity of spirit and for your words. Thanks to Ronnie Romano.
To Ronnie, absolutely. Yeah, man, you're done good. Amen.
Ronnie is a music alum from the class of 2020 and has also been the choir director and a musician here in our community since then. And we're so lucky to have him as part of our circle. I think what I'd like to do now, it's hard for me. I'm feeling very emotional, so please bear with me. But I think we have a few minutes for some questions that you might have for Francois, either from things that you've heard tonight or from readings that you've done of his memoir of Officer Clemmons.
And also, Liza, those 2 or 3 people who have not read the book, maybe those 3 people will be inspired to go get it and read it.
While you're thinking of your question, I will mention that the Vermont Bookshop is graciously set up in the lobby, and they have copies, both lots of the paperback, which is now available, but also some hardcover copies. And if you don't already have a copy, I urge you to pick one up, both for my esteemed guests. And yes, and part of this proceeds, the Vermont Bookshop has designated to go to Women's Safe, which is a very important organization here in our community that assures people's safety in the face of domestic violence. It was a cause that's very important, and if you have read Officer Clemmons, you'll understand why it's important to Francois, and I encourage you to pick up a copy. Some friends from the New England Review are in the audience with some microphones, and the interest of COVID-19 safety, please raise your hand. We can call on you, and then you can say your question, but for the mics, for all of our hearing, and for also those who are watching streaming from home, they'll repeat your question so that everyone can hear. Who'd like to start? I see someone in the back. Can you get to them? Great. So go ahead and ask your question. Holler your question out to us, and they'll repeat, and then she'll repeat it as well.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
She's read your book, and she read in it that there were a lot of people along the way that helped you out, that you trusted and that believed in you. It's very important to do that to people, she says. Yes, that you are where you are today because people sent you to college. And do you want to comment on any of those people?
Well, my only comment is, yes, there were lots of people who helped me along the way. And I urge you to reach out a hand to some of the people I mentioned earlier. And you mentioned the Abenaki people who are here. And there are some Latins, Spanish people who work on Spanish as a first language, English as a second language on Saturdays, or reading to elderly people, going to help. I used to go over and see Chuck Miller at the grade school. 2 or 3 weeks, I'd go over and sit and sing to the children. Mentorship is the magic word that I'm trying to find. We need to mentor the next generation. You cannot just sit there and say you've done yours and you haven't done anything bad. You know, there's omission as well as commission. And when you don't reach out in your own unique way to the next generation, it is omission. And that is one of the reasons I care so much for Women's Safe, because it's a way for me saying, bless you, God loves you, I love you, I want to help. Find a way. So yes, there were people who did it to me, but I gave it, and I still give it freely, and I will continue to give from that place. Another question? Yes, there's one down here. Yeah, come on over so you're ready.
Why was your name Buttercup?
Buttercup is a nickname, and I don't know why they called me Buttercup. Children of where I grew up, everybody had a nickname. Junie, Meme, Lazabelle. We all had nicknames, and that was mine. My brother was Sweet Pea, the twins. And so that's how you committed. You knew that you were part of community because those people knew your nickname. And perhaps they never called you. In fact, they never called me my name. Even when I went to school, I was still Buttercup for a long time. And Julia Alvarez has permission to continue to call me Buttercup.
So many people, even in my generation, look towards people like Fred Rogers as offer faith in them. And I know many people like myself passing through the park. What do you think you offer?
Liza, do you want to repeat that for them? What would I expect Fred Rogers to do in this time, just like he did when you were young or weren't born yet? And the thing that I love to remind us is that the lesson of caring, and here we are, mentoring, goes for all ages. The children on the border of Mexico, Fred Rogers would be very, very concerned about those children. There was a man on a horse the other day against some Haitian black immigrants. And these kinds of things we can write to our congressman. We can tell that wonderful Phil Scott, say something. You're in a position of power. People will listen to him. Mentoring and making sure that we leave a world, hello, for the next generation. Fred was a high environmentalist before I realized what he was talking about. We have to leave something to the children. And I don't have to have, I have 500 cosmic sons and daughters. I love them. They are now having children. What kind of a world are we leaving them? I think about that every single day. You don't have to have biological children to care and to do something. I was an environmentalist a long time ago. I can't go into it now, but environmental issues are also ghetto issues. How we treat minorities, how we treat black people. Where can we have clean water to drink, Flint? So there are issues that we all have to look into. When Burlington's sewage overflows, and also when there's green algae in the Lake Champlain, people don't believe that that's going on here in Vermont. How could there possibly be that much trash in Lake Champlain? So you know where I'm coming from. You understand. Next question. Whatever page he said, I don't remember, but he said
138.
138.
He said on page 138, you fell in love. See, I'm very interested in this juicy answer. And you pushed this person away. And where might you be now if that push didn't happen?
I did not push him away. He didn't let it go either. I did not write about what all we were doing because some things need to be private. And he wanted a private life more than anything in the whole world. And in my day and time, after Fred Rogers told me he did not want me to come out as gay, we went on the down low. You understand what the down low is. You have an affair, you have a relationship. I was in a situation that I still look back on. I don't have all the answers, please. But my friend claimed that he was not gay, that he was, at the most, he was bisexual. And he got married and had children and grandchildren. So I felt that to honor the love that we felt, I should not out him. It is none of your damn business what happened to him. Not because I'm hiding it. He doesn't want people to know. He wants privacy. And I respect that. I will never, I'll carry that to my grave. Although there are people who know. When I got to New York, I discovered that there were a lot of gay people in the theater, in the music and dance, my goodness. And so I found it easier to be my true self when I was in New York. Also, you can get lost among the many masses of people. For a long time, I was, underground, and I didn't. If I went to a gay bar or something, I sat by myself. I'd have a drink and then go home or whatever. But we don't all have the luxury of being out and being married. I have several wonderful friends here in Vermont who have been out a long time, and I love them dearly, and they're married. So be it. That was not my destiny, and I could never marry the man whom I love. Couldn't sit on his lap. I couldn't kiss him in the airports or any places. That's the way the world is. It's changing. I'm 75, 76, and it's a little late for some things. At least I'm not. I'm not holding my breath. So,
Okay. I would challenge anyone to tell you that you don't have a lot of love left to give.
I have lots of love to give. I have received a lot of love. I married the Unitarian Church. All the guys in the church, I call them my pretend husbands. And all the women I call my wife sisters. And some of those women have some handsome husbands. And I say, these old Vermont women, they came up here and they snatched them all before I got here. So there is a lot of affection. There are many ways to say, I love you. I meant that when I sang it, because having a physical sexual affair with someone is not the only way to say, I love you. And my growth, my deep spiritual understanding is that I'm connected to many people who are not gay and or who are not my lovers. But I am also still falling in love with women. And I'm always surprised by that. But I absolutely adore a strong woman. I too look for someone to follow, someone to listen to, someone who I know is not going to be weak and turn back. I like a strong, look at, what's her name in Georgia? The black lady.
Stacey Abrams?
Stacy, Lord have mercy, Stacy. That's the kind of woman I'm looking for. Yeah, stand up. Yeah. I like a strong woman, but not a dumb, not a someone who pushes you over or is abusive. She's well thought out, well thought out. And many times she thinks and says things that, oh my goodness, I hadn't thought about that. I also look at Nancy Pelosi. I look at our vice president. These are women that I love. That's what I'm looking for, in case you want something to happen. Listen,
I think we have time for one more.
there's one back there. Take the microphone over to her. Take the microphone over to her.
What is the name of your beautiful dog?
That's Her Royal Highness, the Princess.
Okay, well, I mean, you don't mention that at the back of the book. I
Oh.
mean, she's such a part of your life, so.
I put our picture there, didn't I?
I know you did.
I promise you that I'll do better next time.
But I believe it's no coincidence that dog is God in reverse or God is dog in reverse, however you want to look at it.
Yes.
So my other question is, it seems as though when you first came to Middlebury, um, Middlebury really had made an impression on you. And obviously this is where you chose to settle eventually in life. Is that, I mean, was it
What's
your
the question?
was it your first impression from coming here initially with Fred?
Okay,
And then meeting this great young lady that,
I will try to give you the short version.
okay.
Basically, I'm a very spiritual person. The Spirit had me drive my car out of Manhattan up to Henry Hudson on the other side of the Lake Champlain, and then said, go home. Other people wouldn't do that. I'm just trying to explain why. So I did that a couple of times, and one day I came up here and I was across on the other side, New York side, and something impelled me to come across the lake. I crossed over, and when I got over here, after a couple of miles or what have you on 125, I wound up on Middlebury College's campus again. I hadn't been there in years. And I thought, well, what the heck is, I didn't know what it was. I don't have a sense of direction. So someone would have had to gotten in the car and told me to go otherwise. But when I got up on the campus driving around, the Spirit said to me, you're home. I have to tell you, it's a very mystical experience to be driving the car 5 or 6 hours. You're finally on this campus. You don't really know very many people, one or two. And so I said, okay, am I finished? And the universe says, yes, go home. Go back to New York now. And sure enough, a couple of months or so later, a certain person calls me and said, Middlebury College wants a closer relationship with you. And I sat there, I just gently sat down because I recognized the Spirit was talking to me. That's how I wound up here. Because I put in an application to Juilliard, Eastman, the one in Philadelphia, Academy of Music, the number of schools that have excellent music departments. Well, here's where I wound up. And, well, the thing about Vermont, and specifically Middlebury College, is I know they needed me. And I needed them. I needed the really intimate, intense friendships and emotional things that happened to me. Because I had had a couple of cosmic children in New York City. But when I came up here, it's like that cosmic door opened and I realized that there were people here who needed. Fred Rogers gave me unconditional love. I tell this story in the book. And you have to have unconditional trust in the universe. And I have looked at my world and lived my life, and I realized the gift that I give is unconditional forgiveness. And I talk about white people and the abuse. Everywhere white people have gone, they have abused the native people who live there. You can go through Africa, South Africa, the French-speaking parts of Africa, Senegal, and what have you. You can go to the Polynesia. You can go to the Middle East. You go to here. And what happened with the Aztecs and not the Iroquois, but the people down in South America who went up in the Machu Picchu. So you have this path of incredible destruction. And I sit there and I think, this cannot continue to happen. Somewhere, someone has got to say, stop. Let's stop. And the only way white people can fully understand what they have done is if a black person like myself will speak up and say, I know what you've done. I educated myself, but I'm also able to forgive you. You must be forgiven. And you must understand, when I give you the benediction, the special blessing, that we are no longer going to hold you in account. You must go and do that no more. Never again. Our tribute to the Abenaki is only one instance of I forgive you. I am not going to hold you forever in debt. What a horrible world we have. Someone has got to turn around. I've turned around. And there are others. I'm not the only one. There are others who have turned around and said, the environment, it's not just plants and trees, it's people that we've abused. Everywhere you go, there's a district in the residential part of town that's redlined. That's a sin. You cannot cut people out and then expect them to be strong and healthy. You must tear down those barriers. White people have to go home to their communities, and that's where the change actually takes place. And in Middlebury was a place that they needed to hear that. And so I tell them, you are forgiven. You are forgiven. And this is, in my opinion, a very different school than it was 20 years ago, when everybody wanted to go work for Merrill Lynch or go down and work on Wall Street or someplace like that. We have a debt, hear me, a debt to humanity, the survival of this earth. You can't just have vaccination. Come on, let's get with this and not give some vaccinations in Senegal and Nigeria and Kenya and all through the other. That virus knows no fences, no barriers, none. Put up your fences, put up your wall. The virus says, here I come, overall, over. So, I don't know what quite the question was, but I do know that it's important for me to tell you that. Go out and tell your friends, we are forgiven, but we have to do better. We cannot continue. No more.
Forgive and do better. Amen. Forgive and do better. Thank you so much, Francois, and thank you to all of you for coming, and thank you to those of you who are attending on the stream tonight. I do want to invite all of you to meet us in the lower lobby for a book signing with Francois. Let's see, we'll be in the lower lobby downstairs. I'm going to ask everyone not to gather in the theater to greet Francois, but to meet us downstairs so we can get him where he needs to go. And also, normally at a book signing, people would probably love to take photos with the author, but because of COVID-19, we're going to ask everyone to forego photo ops tonight. I hope you understand. We're trying to keep Francois and all of us as healthy as we can. Thank you so much.